Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 22nd of January and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. In this particular video, we are going to take up all the important relevant articles that are in the today's newspaper with respect to the examination. Now guys, let's get started with the overview. Now here we have first of all Delhi edition of newspaper, and first article that we have here is about the consecration ceremony today that will be held in Ayodhya. Then side article, Biren to seek meet with PM MLAs discuss resignation. Not important article with respect to the examination. It is a political article. Then further moving on in this particular capacity, all clinical services open today says AIMS. Then we have advertisements and largely we have here the regional issues, regional articles. Fine, no need to go too much in detail here because with respect to the UPSC relevance is not there in these particular articles. Then further moving on, again we have the political articles. Here we have one article with just two speakers, a language in Kerala with no script on brink of extinction. We'll see this particular article for examination. Then further moving on guys, we come to editorial section because till editorial we don't have much relevant articles today. A post office act, its unbridled powers of interception. So basically guys, what has happened recently, post office bill 2023 was passed. Okay, now basically it has been provided that it will replace the colonial era post office act. Now the article is providing that how that huge interception will be powers will be given. Now one particular thing guys I would like to tell you that, see, understand that you are not actually really required to track clause by clause interpretation of these particular sections that have been contained here. Then further moving on in this capacity, a revival of the IMEC idea amid choppy geopolitics. We'll take this particular article for the examination. Just a minute. Okay guys, anyone can confirm whether the stream is clear or not? Please anyone, if you can confirm that whether the stream is clear or not. Okay. A revival of IMEC idea amid choppy geopolitics. We'll take this particular article also for the examination. Here we have article Asia Ascendant. Now this article is talking about the successful landing of slim mission of Japan that has happened on the moon. We'll take this particular article. Then further moving on, after that, better use of technology needs free access. We'll see this particular article also for examination. Visiting Kerala with a strategy in mind. So this is a state of play article talking that how BJP is expecting or is hoping to make frequent visit to get some political advantage in Kerala. Not very much important for the examination. No need to go too much in detail in this. Then further moving on. Then further moving on, after that in text and context, we have article growth of India-Bangladesh ties. We'll take this particular article. Then further, what is the conflict between HUL and its distributors? Not important article guys, but articles talking about the Hindustan Unilever Limited's disputes with its distributors. No need to go too much in detail. Then from voice to action, can the Rabbit R1 disrupt the smartphone market? So this Rabbit R1 was launched recently, which has been appreciated. So basically this particular smartphone has capabilities that they can not just give you suggestions about the visit, okay, but about, for example, visit to a hotel, how to make a particular dish, but they can move forward. For example, rather than just suggesting you a trip, they can also make reservations on your behalf. They can make the reservations of the cab on your behalf. So basically this particular smartphone was launched. However, no need to go too much in detail in this. Then further moving on in this particular direction, we have article Congress PM would have ended Manipur conflict, Rahul. So largely political articles have been contained in this entire page. No need to go too much in detail. The same thing is going on. Fine. Then further, next page we have this article NISAR mission to track for a launch soon. NASA official will take this particular article for examination. Then after that, here we have one article 81% of citizens responses have affirmed the idea of simultaneous poll. We'll see that what article is talking about. India's invitation to Taliban envoy in UAE is routine, no change in stance. Then We have today money wise page because it is Monday, and on Monday business page is not published. Money wise page is there, which contains the advices related to investment, portfolio management, loan, interest rates, etc. Okay, then further we have world page. In world page, death toll from Israeli strikes on Gaza surpassed 25,000. Okay, then 25 killed in attack on crowded market in Russia held Donetsk. Okay, now understand this thing, that basically as we talk about these particular articles, these articles are giving just the details with respect to crisis that is going on. No need to track this with respect to UPSC examination, because for our examination, articles pertaining to India's foreign policy or the articles pertaining to some of the India's interest overseas are to be taken up. Then guys, after that we have the sports section. Okay, so that is all guys about the overview for the today's newspaper. And now let's take all the relevant articles one by one in detail. And in last we have one science page which is usually not published into the physical copy. Mosquito fish used to fight mosquitoes has become invasive in India. Okay, so basically guys, so it has been found that in water bodies, particularly many of the states, in many of the organizations in Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Punjab, they have released this mosquito fish in the water bodies to address the mosquito menace, but now their population has increased very rapidly. Okay, now moving on, and let's discuss all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Now before going on, first of all we would take the MCQ questions answer that we have, MCQ questions and the answers of those MCQs that we have taken on Saturday, and then we are going to take MCQ questions for today. So on Saturday we have taken up these particular MCQs. First was, consider the following statement with respect to India-UK relations. Consider the following statement with respect to India-UK relations. So number one, India is among the top importers of UK defense equipments. Ajay Warrior is a joint military exercise between the two nations. UK is a permanent member of UNSC and support India's bid for permanent seat in UNSC. All these statements are true. So what is the correct option? Correct option is D, all of the above. All of the above. Then moving on, next question. Consider the following statement with respect to annual status of education report ASAR 2023. The survey is conducted by Ministry of Education? No, it is not conducted by Ministry of Education. It is conducted by the Pratham NGO. The survey assesses student based on their 10th class performance. No, that is also not correct, because every edition will have some different aspects. For example, this particular year's ASAR annual status of education report 2023, it has analyzed the students between the age of 14 to 18 and various aspects with respect to the smartphone usage, okay, their enrollment rate, find the preference in the 11th and 12th standard. All these things have been taken up. So both the statements are wrong. So what will be the right option? Right option is D, none of the above. None of the above. And then question number 3. If you travel through the Himalayas, you likely to see which of the plant naturally growing there? 2014 PYQ question. Oak, rhododendron and sandalwood. Now guys, if you see here carefully, you will find that sandalwood, when we talk about sandalwood, and just guys, even if you have seen the movie Pushpa, you find this particular thing. And if you are little bit knowing about the Virappan, who was notorious for illegal chopping of the sandalwood, all these particular things, where it have happened, they have happened into the regions around the Deccan. Okay, so you see this particular thing, that when we talk about the sandalwood as a tree actually grows in the tropical areas, and therefore you will not find it in Himalayas. Okay, so sandalwood does not fits here. So all of the above will not be there. 3 only cannot be there. In B also the 3 only option is there, so it cannot be there. So what is the only option that we have? 1 and 2 only, that is the oak and rhododendron. Oak and rhododendron. Okay, so that is all about it. And now moving on in this particular capacity. Okay, so these were the MCQ questions that we took on Saturday, and you guys are participating in good numbers. That is very good. Keep it up. Now taking up MCQ questions for today. Taking up the MCQ questions for today. So consider the following statements. In India, the Himalayas are spread over 5 states only. Western Ghat are spread over 5 states only. Pulicat Lake is spread over 2 states only. So these are 3 statements we have. Which of the following statements are correct? Okay, but just attempt this particular question and leave your answer in the comment box. Leave your answer in the comment box. This is the question. Then there's question, Great Indian Bustard is considered the flagship grassland species. It is one of the heaviest flying bird. In India, Rajasthan is home to to the great number of Great Indian bustards. It is critically endangered according to IUCN list. So these are the statements. We have seen that recently Supreme Court has asked the government that what are your plans with respect to the recovery of Great Indian bustard. So in this capacity, we have asked this particular question. So choose your right option. Then further moving on, the large language model recently seen in news is related to LLM is in news related to government's initiative to increase literacy rate in India, UN initiative to add other language to its official list. Under UNESCO's indigenous language decade, we have come out with LLM initiative, or it is related to generative AI system. So A, B, C, D. What is the right option? Choose the right option and leave your answer in comment box. Leave your answer in the comment box. So that is all guys about it. And now moving on, and let's take our discussion of the articles one by one in detail. And also guys, I would like to inform you about the Roundup 2024 current affairs batch for upcoming prelims examination. First of all, I would like to thank you all for encouraging response that you have shown on this current affairs batch. And up till now, if you have not decided or if up till now you are not confident with respect to your current affairs for upcoming 2024 prelims, you can consider joining this particular batch where we are going to cover entire 1 year's current affair in theme wise manner, where economy, environment, science and tech, okay, and art and culture, miscellaneous, all these issues in thematic manner will be taken up. Also, classes would not focus only on the coverage but revision and retentions. And after discussing current affairs, we are also going to see the revision through MCQs, multiple choice questions. Okay, so this is about it. And initially there will be 2 classes per week on weekends, and as we will proceed forward, the classes will be increased, might be 3 to 4 classes per week. This particular course is starting from 31st of January and will go till April month, so that latest coverage you can get. Also, these particular classes will be streamed live, but recordings will also be available, which you can access after the classes. Okay, now moving on, and if you want to enroll, you can enroll by visiting the link www.sahilsaini.net. You can enroll in this particular course. Moving on in this particular capacity. Now, the quotation for today that we have. Okay, we are going to take quotation from Peter Drucker, who says, ultimate resource in economic development is people. It is people, not capital or raw material, that develops an economy. So biggest resource of a nation is human resource, and biggest investment that a nation should do it is into the human resource development. We can use this particular idea with respect to GS paper number 2, social justice and development related issues. Now, guys, so recently we have seen this particular thing, that Defense Minister of India has visited UK, and this particular visit comes after the gap of 22 years. Therefore, this happens to be a very important development, and in this capacity we are going to see, first of all, mapping of UK and related areas, related issues. Now, first of all guys, here you can see that we have the UK. Here we have a UK. Now, first of all, let's understand little bit about the political division of UK. First of all, guys, when we talk about the UK, you find that UK is made up of number 1, Scotland, number 2, Ireland, Northern Ireland, then there is England, and then there is Wales. So Scotland, Northern Ireland, England and Wales, they make UK. United Kingdom. Now, there are some important water bodies, there are some important water channels, etc. that are there. You should be knowing about that, and you should also be knowing about their north to south as well as east to west arrangement. So let's understand that. Okay, fine. Okay, so guys, here if you see, on one hand we have Atlantic Ocean, fine. Towards the west we have Atlantic Ocean, and towards the east we have the North Sea here. We have the North Sea here. Also guys, if you see, Ireland, both Northern Ireland and the Ireland, they are divided between Northern Ireland and between the UK. Here we have the Irish Sea. So here we have North Sea, here we have Atlantic Ocean, here we have Irish Sea, then here we have the Celtic Sea, and here we have English Channel. And here we have basically, Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, 0 degree longitude passing on from here. Okay. Now guys, also we can see that some of the other important water bodies are also there. For example, here you can see that we have the Bristol Channel. So if we talk about some important channels, Bristol Channel, then here we have the St. George's Channel, and here we have the North Channel. So if we talk about the arrangement of the major channels, in the northernmost we have North Channel. After that we have the St. George Channel, then we have Bristol Channel, and then we have the English Channel. So again, North Channel, St. George Channel, Bristol Channel, and English Channel. Fine. So this is something that we have here. Okay. So these are some important aspects with respect to the UK. Okay. So guys, please keep this particular thing in your mind. Now moving on, and let's take the first article for today. A revival of the IMEC idea amid choppy geopolitics. Now, before going in this particular article, this article is going to be important for our GS paper number 2, international issues. First of all, we will discuss what are the basic details about this particular article, and then we'll go in detail. So basically guys, what happened recently, IMEC, India, Middle East, Europe corridor was launched. Okay. Now, first of all, when we talk about the IMEC, I have provided you a picture of major orientation of IMEC. You please download the synoptic notes and use this particular picture to enhance your understanding about IMEC. So now you see this particular thing guys, that when we talk about India's trade with Middle East, India's trade with Europe, so it has to right now pass through Bab el Mandab, then Red Sea, and then there through the Suez, it has to reach to the Mediterranean Sea. Now in past we have seen this particular thing, that this particular entire area has a lot of piracy. Also we find this particular thing, that when we are dependent on the Bab el Mandab and Red Sea for our reach to Europe, what happens? Often this particular region has been in a lot of geopolitical crisis. So one alternative route to reach Middle East and Europe was needed, and therefore India, Middle East, Europe corridor was recently announced. Now how this particular corridor will connect the regions, let's understand. So this particular corridor will start from India, Mumbai, JNPT, okay, Jawaharlal Nehru, Nhava Sheva port, JNPT will be the port from which it will be started. Also it has been in the designs that the Mundra port from the Gujarat will also be the one which will be connecting. So India will be connected to the UAE, Jebel Ali. Then from UAE, Saudi Arabia will be connected. And guys, internally there will be a rail route that will be developed in the Saudi Arabia and UAE. So rail route will be developed in the UAE and Saudi Arabia, and through this particular rail route, what will happen? Fine, we are going to connect through the Israel, that is the Haifa. So Al Haditha of Saudi Arabia, fine, will be connected with the Haifa of Israel, and from Israel basically we will develop a sea route till Greece, that is the Piraeus. So this is the route, and we can see that here we will connect India, will connect Middle East, and then we will reach Israel, and then we will reach the Europe. So this IMEC corridor was recently launched to reduce the dependence on the Red Sea region. Now what has happened? We have recently seen that Israel-Hamas war got started, and after the Israel-Hamas war, Houthi rebels. Now when we talk about here, we have Yemen, and in Yemen there is Houthi militia, that is present, and what they have done, they have started attacking What they have done, they have started attacking the ships going through this particular region. They have started attacking the ships going through this particular region. So this particular episode gives more importance to the idea that IMEC as an alternative route is needed. Currency has been given to this particular idea. But at the same time, one challenge has also come to IMEC. What is the challenge? If you see guys here, two countries, Saudi Arabia and Israel. Saudi Arabia and Israel both are part of IMEC. First of all, Israel and Saudi Arabia, they have been ideologically divided from a very long period of time, because you know this thing already, that Saudi Arabia, it has been the sympathizer for the Palestinians, and they have supported the rights of Palestinians to have their own country here. However, as Israel is seen the one which have illegally captured the Palestinian territories, Saudi Arabia and Israel confrontation is there. So Saudi Arabia supports the Arab world, and Israel, therefore, they have been in opposition to the Israel. Now what happened, as in Gaza, the war has got started, Saudi Arabia's sympathy towards the Palestinian has now become more strong. And now it is coming that if in this particular platform, Israel will be there, Saudi Arabia will not come. And if Saudi Arabia is there, Israel might not be there. So how to bring forward this IMEC? It has become a challenge, and in fact, right now, there is more need of IMEC. There is more need of IMEC. Okay, now, moving on in this particular capacity. Okay, so the Yemen conflict, it has beefed up the case for the India, Middle East, Europe corridor, because we need an alternative route. But at the same time, we can also see that the Arab world, okay, Arab countries, they will not allow any major trade link between the Saudi Arabia and Israel. And even for now many years, this particular development cannot come forward. Okay, so it has been provided that first of all, as we talk about this Israel-Gaza war, entire West Asia will be changed after this particular war. And in this particular capacity, it has been provided that first of all, when we talk about Turkey, Turkey was not made the part of IMEC. Largely, why it was not made the part of IMEC? Because USA has projected IMEC as a pet project, and because of bad relations between USA and Turkey, Turkey was left out of the IMEC project. Now, what Turkey has done? Turkey is now developing an alternative route. Turkey is now developing an alternative route through the Iraq, and it's trying to get the access of the Mediterranean Sea. And in this particular matter, the Turkey will also put a lot of effort that the IMEC is not successful. So Turkey is going to be an irritant here. Saudi Arabia, Israel's declined relation is going to be an irritant, and also the major other Arabian powers, Gulf countries, are also going to put some obstacles in this particular project. Now, here in this particular article, the viewpoints of Mr. Harish Pant has been given. Fine, he has been a notable strategist, okay, or fine, Mr. Harish Pant, he has been the one who has a good command over the geopolitics. So he provides this particular thing, that the Turkey will eventually join this particular project. Turkey will eventually join this particular project, and also it has been provided that into the long term, this particular project will take off and will bring a kind of a ease. Now understand this particular thing. Basically, in 2020, there was one very important development that happened. What happened in 2020? In 2020, Abraham Accords were signed. What were the Abraham Accords? Through the Abraham Accord, Donald Trump tried to normalize the diplomatic relation between Israel, UAE and Bahrain. Now, if we talk about UAE in the past has been supporter of the Palestinian cause, fine, Palestinian people's right. And because of this particular thing, UAE and Israel did not had a diplomatic relations, but their diplomatic relations got started after the Abraham Accords. So what has happened after Abraham Accords? UAE and Israel relation got normalized, and through the UAE, it was expected that the Israel and Saudi Arabia relation will also be normalized. So it has been provided that what will happen over a period of time, over a long period of time, strategic links between Israel and Arab nation will further develop, and Arab Accord will hold. Now, in this capacity, Donald Trump is going to play a very important role. Now understand this thing has become very clear that Donald Trump is going to be there in the 2024 presidential election, and there is a possibility that Donald Trump might again become as president of USA in 2024 election. And this Abraham Accord was a pet project of Donald Trump, and if Donald Trump came to power again, he will try to revive Abraham Accord, and as a part of that Abraham Accord, relation between Saudi Arabia and Israel would also be normalized, but this development might take a lot of time, so we need to see that how patient Donald Trump is with respect to this particular development. Also, it has been provided that when we talk about this IMEC, fine, India Middle East Economic Corridor, it will not only carry the electricity or the goods in or the goods trade, but also it will be very important to carry the hydrogen. It will be important to carry hydrogen. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that the world is moving towards energy transition. Okay, world is moving towards energy transition, and in this particular energy transition, using hydrogen as a fuel is being called as a transitionary fuel. Okay, and over a period of time, the demand for hydrogen will increase. So basically, it has been provided that initially what will happen, the hydrogen would be produced from fossil fuels through the methane reformation. Over a period of time, green hydrogen will replace the hydrogen produced by the methane. But for a transitionary period, hydrogen produced from methane will be an important transitionary fuel, and it has been provided that this particular hydrogen, which is sourced from fossil fuels, it would be provided by the Gulf countries. So through this IMEC corridor, hydrogen produced into the Middle Eastern countries will also be provided to the Europe, and in fact to the India also. Okay, so basically now we find this thing that as we are talking about the transition from fossil fuels, the economies of the Gulf nations, it is going to get impacted. So they want to look for some other viable streams of revenue, and there selling hydrogen becomes an important one, and for that IMEC is an important platform by which they can sell their hydrogen to the other countries. Also, guys, understand this particular thing, that there is containerization. There is containerization through rail and road that will be used for IMEC. Understand, there is not going to be a pipeline for transporting the hydrogen, because we have seen that in the past pipelines have been created for supplying natural gas, for supplying oil, but here rather than the pipeline, containers will be used to send the hydrogen. Now for this particular thing, India is particularly interested. Now, when we talk about, guys, India has come out with national logistic policy. And as per national logistic policy, India wants to reduce the logistic cost. And basically, when we talk about, guys, building a pipeline network, it takes a lot of cost, okay, initial cost. But using containers does not involve any initial cost. Fine, it does not develop, and in very less number of a time, it could be scaled up. So as hydrogen will be transported through the containers, India will be particularly more interested. And dedicated rail freight corridors that we have developed in India. For example, there is a dedicated freight corridor connecting Mumbai and Delhi. And we are also working on many other dedicated corridors also in India. So through that, we can receive hydrogen and can spread throughout the country. Okay, so this is something that has happened. Also, it has been said that meanwhile, when we talk about IMEAC, it have to go through a debottlenecking. Now, if we see here, there is a port such as the Haifa port that is being used, Jebel Ali that is being used. Now, point is that their capacities have to be enhanced. Their capacity have to be enhanced to meet with the increased demand of trade that will happen from here. Okay, so that is all, guys, about this particular entire issue. Now, moving on to the next article. Better use of technology needs free access. Better use of technology needs free access. This particular article we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 2, issues related to education. Now, basically, recently what happened, guys, first of all, let's understand background. Recently, Pratham NGO released annual status of education report. In this annual status of education report, they have analyzed the academic standing of children between the age of 14 to 18 years. And specific many things they have seen. For example, enrollment rate which has increased, adoption of science, technology, mathematics, it has been high in boys than the girls. Also, it has been found that when we talk about the smartphones, more than 90% of the children between the age of 14 to 18, they know how to operate a smartphone, And precisely if we talk about the number, then there are 92% of the 14 to 18-year-old children who know how to use a smartphone. But when we talk about ownership of the smartphone, it is not equitable. 44% of the boys, they own smartphone, but only 20% of the girls own smartphone. Now this article is providing this particular thing, that ownership of a digital device will also impact one's digital skills in long run, Now it has been provided this particular thing, that first of all, when we see boys and girls with respect to basic usage of smartphone, both of them know how to use a smartphone, how to browse on Google, how to browse on YouTube, both know. Doesn't matter whether they own a smartphone or not, they know how to browse. But it has been provided that when we talk about other deeper technical skills, a person will know only when a person will own a smartphone or a digital device. In India, we see that there are the gender differences. There are the gender-based differences on the ownership of a digital device, Now understand, when we analyze that how many of the people know about advanced safety features, such as how to change a password, how to block a person on a social media. This particular knowledge was largely in those children who owned a mobile phone. The ones who don't own a mobile phone, they don't know these advanced operations in a smartphone. So it has been provided that, in other terms, the result, what it suggests? It suggests that while access to a common smartphone can be described as basic or superficial, owning a smartphone is necessary to access the advanced information as well as the advanced services. Now understand this particular thing. It has been provided that the smartphone usage, smartphone skills, digital skills, it has to be learned into the present age. Why it has to be learned? Because right now we are moving towards the digital economy. We are moving where the electronic payments are being made, bills are being paid online, recharge is being made online, a lot of government services are available online. And for that particular thing, deeper technical skills are needed. Just a minute. Yes. So deeper technical skills are needed, and without the ownership, those skills cannot be learned. Also, it has been provided that whenever we talk about any technology, there needs to be the motivation to learn technology, and at the same time, there needs to be the opportunity to learn that technology. There needs to be the devices to learn that particular technology. Now, we have seen this particular thing, that during the COVID-19 pandemic, without being taught, a large number of people adopted new technology. They learned how to use smartphone, they learned how to use the video calling app and all such kind of a thing. So it has been provided that if there is a technology, if there is a motivation, and if there is the opportunity, people will learn the technology. Now in 2017, Pratham NGO, which has conducted the annual status of education report, they conducted one experiment, and what they did, they provided the tablets to the children between the age of 11 to 14 years. They were given the tablet, that you use your tablet for educational purposes, and these particular tablets, they have the passwords, so that outside content cannot be imported on these particular tablets. But what happened, it was observed that within 2 weeks, passwords in half of the tablets, they were changed. Fine, within 2 weeks, password in half of the tablets, they have been changed. Now these children, they were the ones who were using smart devices for the first time. They were never taught how to change the password, but they learned and they shared this particular information with the other people, and with a wildfire, it spread that how these particular passwords are to be changed. So it has been provided that, see, if devices are given, now see, because the children have the devices with them at their disposal, and for a brief period they were the owners of these devices, they were able to do this particular thing even without getting taught. So for learning advanced digital skills, ownership of a device is very much important. So therefore it has been provided that India should focus on removing these gender anomalies when it comes to the digital devices. Okay, because when we talk about the skills such as making the payment, okay, accessing the government services through the internet, how to be safe on the internet, for that you need advanced skills, and that comes only when a person has the ownership of a device. So that is about this particular article. Now moving on, and let's take the next article. Asia ascendant. Asia ascendant. Okay. Now this particular article we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 3, science and technology, as well as for prelim science and technology. For prelim science and technology, we are going to see this particular article. Now let's see this thing. Basically guys, what has happened recently, Japan has become 5th country to soft land their to soft land their lunar probe. Okay, just a minute. Yes. So what has happened recently, this smart lander for investigating moon spacecraft, which was launched by Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA. Okay. So SLIM, that is smart lander for investigating moon. It was launched in the month of September by the Japan, that is the Japan's space agency, JAXA. Now it has made a touchdown on moon, and Japan has become the 5th country to successfully carry soft landing on moon. Which are these 5 countries? We have USSR, we have US, India, China, and now the Japan. So Japan has entered into the group of 5 countries which has made a soft landing on moon. However, Japan, it provided the information that what happened, though it has touched down, but its solar panel are not producing power, and therefore it has shifted on batteries. It has shifted on batteries. Now when we talk about the SLIM, okay, SLIM, it is right now transmitting the data, other components are working. So therefore we can see that the Japan has successfully become the 5th country to land the to land a probe on the moon. Now when we talk about the Chandrayaan 3, we know this particular thing, that the Chandrayaan 3, it also had a rover inbuilt which will be doing certain in situ test onto the moon. So similarly, as the Chandrayaan 3 had the rover, SLIM also was will be deploying a rover mission. There are the 2 small rovers that will be launched. Now understand this particular thing, that the SLIM, it has one particular special aspect which is missing in the other moon projects. What is the aspect? Understand, basically when for example Chandrayaan 3 made a landing, okay, when the China's mission made a landing on the moon, there was a large area that was chosen. And within that particular area they can land anywhere. But when we talk about the SLIM, there is a designated land of only 100 square meter. There is only 100 square meter. Within this particular area it has to land, and because of this high precision, because of this high accuracy of landing, it is also being called as moon sniffer. Now this particular thing is very important. Why? You see this particular thing guys, that as we are doing more and more launches, this precision landing is going to be very valuable. Why? Because guys, when we talk about landings that have been done on the moon, we are now making the landing onto the South Pole region. Now understand what happens. Suppose this is the surface of moon, and you want to investigate a crater. Let's say you want to investigate a crater, and this crater is here. You have chosen that now see, you want to investigate a crater is here. Now the moon mission will land, and let's say this is the site that you have chosen, that anywhere it can land. Let's say the mission landed here. So from here it has to travel this particular point to investigate this particular crater. Now many number of times the terrain is very much uneven, and therefore there might be a possibility that the rover might not be able to reach there. It might face some problem, it might fall in a ditch, okay, it might fall in a trench or something like that. So basically precise landing on a particular site is going to be very important. And if Japan masters it, though it has made a landing, but it will be the week's time to till that we get an information that how precise the landing was. But if Japan masters this particular precise landing, this is going to be a very important breakthrough for all the countries. Also, understand this particular thing. Already Japan and India, they are planning the lunar polar exploration mission, LUPEX mission. In this particular mission, India and Japan, they will be collaborating, and this precision landing technology, if Japan learns, it can provide to the India, which will further enhance the precision of India's space landings in the future. So this is all about this particular article's importance. Also, we find this particular thing, guys, that today we know that major powerhouse of space launchings is Asia. We have India, China and Japan. Three Asian countries have the proven space technologies to reach the moon. So it shows that how the present century is the 21st century even in the space missions. The growth of India-Bangladesh ties. Growth of India-Bangladesh ties. Now we are going to see this particular article with respect to GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, international relation, India-Bangladesh relations. India-Bangladesh relation. Now guys, when we talk about Bangladesh, when we talk about India, India maintains neighborhood first policy. And as a part of this neighborhood first policy, India shares a very special relation with Bangladesh. Okay, now few days back we have seen that elections got conducted in Bangladesh, and in these particular election, Awami League led by Sheikh Hasina has won more than two-thirds of the seats. Won more than two-thirds of the seats, and because of this particular victory of Sheikh Hasina led government, it is being called as a indirectly a victory for India. Why? Because when we talk about India's neighborhood, right now there is a lot of crisis going on in neighborhood. For example, Pakistan, we don't have good equations. China, because of the 2020 Galwan Valley incident, we don't have good equation. Maldives, again, it is going against India and is openly joining the China's hold. Okay, Bhutan already has signed a memorandum of understanding with China with respect to the boundary delineation, which is good, but it has been a history that China, whenever it engages with India's neighbor, they put a lot of infrastructure investment in that country, and that country becomes little bit diverted towards the China. Now Bangladesh happens to be a time tested friend of India, and Awami League and Sheikh Hasina, they had maintained a very good relation with India in the past, and their victory and returning to the power is a very good signal for India. Now when we talk about India-Bangladesh relation, we find this particular thing that India-Bangladesh relation, they got started in 1970. Basically, the foundation of relations was laid in 1971. We helped Bangladesh to get liberated from Pakistan. Though the things were started on a good front, but through 1970s, relations between India and Bangladesh got declined because many issues developed in between. For example, what happened? There was anti-India sentiment developing because of the boundary disputes, sharing of the water, insurgency happened. Large number of Bangladeshi people, as they were migrating in India, and as Indian resisted that migration, and a lot of times there have been certain issues of human rights that actually also happened. So the relations actually became little bit problematic in 1970s. But Sheikh Hasina government, it came to power in 1996, and since then a new chapter in India-Bangladesh relation had got started. Since then we have built cooperation in trade, energy, infrastructure, connectivity, defense. Also on the sharing of Ganga water, treaty has been signed between the India and Bangladesh. And when we talk about Bangladesh India's economic relation, we find this particular thing that Bangladesh has emerged India's largest trade partner in South Asia, and bilateral trade between India and Bangladesh stands at $18 billion, and India is the second biggest trade partner of Bangladesh. Fine, second biggest trade partner of Bangladesh overall. Fine, and $2 billion of exports are being done. Also, we find this particular thing that in order to further enhance the economic cooperation between India and Bangladesh, we have signed the CEPA, that is Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement in 2022, CEPA. Now, this particular CEPA is going to be a very important, because right now when we talk about Bangladesh, Bangladesh comes in the LDC, least developed country category. But over the past few years, there has been a rapid growth in Bangladesh. And because of this, Bangladesh's tag of least developed country will end in 2026. Now, right now, because of the LDC tag that Bangladesh has, they are getting the duty-free access to a lot of markets. They are getting duty-free access to a lot of markets without paying the custom duty. They can get the access of market. But this concession will end in 2026. So therefore, Bangladesh is signing the free trade agreement with as many countries as possible before 2026, so that unrestricted access to these foreign markets they continue to get. When we talk about Bangladesh, Bangladesh in the past has been depending on their manufacturing sector, particularly the manufacturing of the garments, garments and textiles. In this capacity, exports is very important for Bangladesh. So it needs to have these free trade agreement. And with India, it already signed the CEPA. It already signed the CEPA in 2022. But at the same time, guys, if we see Bangladesh is also pursuing the China-backed Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. In the RCP, India is not there, it has withdrawn. So Bangladesh is actively cooperating with India also and is cooperating with China-backed RCEP also. Because of this, there are certain concerns in India also. Now also, when we talk about India and Bangladesh, India has supported Bangladesh a lot for infrastructure development. And since 2010, we see that lines of credit of $7 billion, line of credit of $7 billion has been extended by India to Bangladesh. Also recently, Prime Minister and the Prime Minister of India and Bangladesh, they have inaugurated the Akhora Agartala rail link. Akhora Agartala rail link. Now let's understand about this Agartala Akhora rail link. Okay, so guys, fine. So here we have Agartala. Here we have Agartala in India, Tripura, and here we have Akhora. Akhora is in Bangladesh. Now understand, when we talk about the northeast part of India, it wants to get the access to the sea. Okay. And in this capacity, guys, understand this particular thing. Two things I want to tell you. That, for example, if we want to go from Kolkata to northeast, we need to go through this chicken neck and we will reach here. This particular journey takes a lot of time. Okay, it takes a lot of time and it also becomes expensive in terms of the energy that is used from here to there. What we can do, we can directly reach from Kolkata to Petrapol, and from there, from the Bangladesh, we can directly reach to northeast Tripura. Okay. Also, the trade originating in northeast, it can reach the Bay of Bengal through the Bangladesh. So therefore, what has been done? A train link has been created here connecting Akhora in Bangladesh to Agartala. This particular project, this particular rail link recently got inaugurated, and this rail link is a very important dimension in India-Bangladesh relation. Also, we find this particular thing, that BIMSTEC Master Plan for Transport Connectivity focusing on developing many of transport infrastructure projects between India, Bangladesh, Myanmar and Thailand, and by that also India-Bangladesh relation will thrive. Okay, but at the same time, there are certain irritants also that are there between India and Bangladesh. And when we talk about these irritants, the biggest irritant is with respect to the Teesta dispute. Up till now, Teesta River Water Sharing Agreement has not been finalized in all the nitty-gritties. Second dispute is the Rohingya issue. Now, we know that the Rohingyas are the Muslims living in Myanmar, and because the junta has come in Myanmar, they are being persecuted, they are running in other countries. Bangladesh wants that the Rohingyas in Myanmar, they need to be accommodated peacefully. Fine, and they want that for the Rohingyas, there needs to be a sympathetic attitude. But what India is doing? India has number one, India has said that they will be repatriating Rohingyas who have come to India back to Myanmar. Now, if you repatriate Rohingyas back to Myanmar, their safety might be threatened. Also, Bangladesh wants that India negotiates with Myanmar. So, and India should use its diplomacy to ensure that Rohingyas are not being persecuted in Myanmar. But that also India has not done. Then also, there is the fear of the rise of the majoritarian forces in India. that is also impacting the India-Bangladesh relation. Then guys, there is the Belt and Road Initiative. Now, Bangladesh has become more interested into the Belt and Road Initiative and has joined it with a lot of eagerness. India has not liked it. India has not liked it. Also what has happened? Basically, US also is disturbing the relations. How? Recently, elections got conducted in Bangladesh. These elections have been called as unfair, non-transparent by USA. In past, USA has imposed sanctions on Bangladesh, and again, USA is considering this particular thing. Now, when we talk about guys, USA happens to be a very good friend of India, and Bangladesh will expect that India should convince USA not to impose any sanctions on Bangladesh. And if India was not able to do that, it will impact India and Bangladesh relation also. So these are all the dimensions that have come on the India-Bangladesh front. And because of these elections that got conducted, a question might be asked on this particular direction in examination. So please be ready. Moving on. NISAR mission on track for NISAR mission on track for a launch soon, NASA official. Now we'll see this particular article with respect to the prelims, science and technology. Prelims, science and technology. Okay, let's understand. So first of all, what is the meaning of NISAR? What is the meaning of NISAR? NISAR stands for NASA, ISRO, Synthetic Aperture Radar. It stands for NASA, ISRO, Synthetic Aperture Radar, NISAR. Now this NISAR, it is a mission that will be launched in 2024. It will be launched in 2024. It is going to be the Low Earth Orbit Observatory. Low Earth Orbit Observatory, and what it is going to do? It is going to track the natural processes over the earth. Natural processes over the earth. For example, it can track. Okay, fine. Now what can be done? You can track. So synthetic aperture radar will be used to scan the earth's land. We will see that how much is the ice covered region, how much is the forested region, how much is the how much soil cover is there. All such kind of things will be done, and twice every 12 days, ice cover, forested cover of the earth will be tracked by this NISAR, by the synthetic aperture radar. And this particular observation can help us to go for better management of our forest, better management of agriculture, better understanding that how the glaciers are melting. Also, data that will be generated by this NISAR, this particular data will be placed in the public domain, and will be made open to the public, which goes in line with the open data policy of the government. Okay, so this NISAR, it has a lot of applications and will be launched in 2024 early. Once it will be launched, we will be getting more information about it. So this is all about the present information that we have with respect to NISAR. Moving on to next article. With just 2 speakers, a language in Kerala with no script is on brink of extinction. Now, basically guys, in the past, questions on the tribes, questions on such indigenous communities that where they live have been asked. So what this particular question is talking about? This question, this article is talking about the Chakalia community. The Chakalia community. Now, Chakalia community, it lives in Kerala. It lives in Kerala in Kannur district. Now, when we talk about the Chakalia community speaks a different language, that is Madhika. And there are only 2 people left in the Chakalia community who speak Madhika language. There are only 2 fluent speakers of Madhika that has been lost. And once these 2 people pass away, Madhika language would be lost. So here you can see that there are these 2 old people who are the last speakers of Madhika language. Okay, these 2 people are the last speakers of the Madhika language. Fine. Now, you understand this particular thing, that when we talk about Madhika sounds very similar to Kannada. But actually Madhika, it is a blend of Telugu, Tulu, Kannada, Malayalam. Okay, younger generation, they are not interested in learning Madhika. Rather, they are more interested in learning Malayalam, which is being taught into the schools and which also is believed to be a mainstream language than the Madhika. Now, when we talk about this Chakalia community was considered as a nomadic community, fine, nomadic community. Also, when we talk about this particular community, basically this particular community has migrated from the hilly regions of the Karnataka centuries of years ago. Initially, they were treated as the scheduled tribe, but later they were included into the scheduled caste category. And guys, it has been seen that there is a lot of social stigma against the Chakalia community, and because of this social stigma, their language has also not been adopted. So they were considered untouchables into the past, and therefore they were not allowed to participate in a lot of rituals, in the feasts, etc. And the younger generation, they want to erase all the past, and therefore they are also not learning the Madhika language. So if a question comes that recently Chakalia community was in news, this Chakalia community lives in which state? Kerala. Let's say question comes Kerala, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, fine, Madhya Pradesh. So they are found in Kerala. They are considered as untouchable. They come into the scheduled caste, and the language that they speak is Madhika. Okay, that is about it. Now, moving on, and here we have an article. This 81% of citizens responses have affirmed the idea of simultaneous polls ministry. Now, before going in this article, guys, let's go a little bit into the background. So basically, what happened? Central government established the panel headed by the former president, Mr. Ramnath Kovind, to explore the feasibility of one nation, one election plan. Now, what is one nation, one election idea? Idea is to have simultaneous election for the Lok Sabha as well as the state legislative assembly. Now, we see this particular thing, guys, that in 1951-52, elections of Lok Sabha and state assemblies, they were conducted simultaneously. But what happened? In 1959, Article 356 was invoked, president rule. Okay. Then we find this particular thing. Then we find this particular thing that many of the governments, they fell, defections happened. Fine, there was untimely elections that happened, and we find that post 1970s, the cycle that was there between, or basically the synchronization that was there between the state assembly and Lok Sabha election, it got broken. And now we find this particular thing. That there are only the states of Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, whose elections are getting conducted along with the Lok Sabha elections. All the other states, they are having the elections into the other periods, and almost every year India faces one election. India faces at least one election. Now, so therefore the idea of simultaneous election, conducting these elections simultaneously, has come. Now, in this capacity, in 2018, Law Commission of India also released a report on simultaneous election. Fine. And basically, commission submitted that simultaneous elections are not feasible within the existing framework, and certain amendments are needed to be carried in Representation of People Act. Also, it has been said that to bring the simultaneous election, you also need to get the consent of the half of the 50% of the states. This was the Law Commission of India's views. Now, this commission that was conducted by the government, that is the panel under the former president Ramnath Kovind that was constituted, it has to see that whether we can carry the one nation elections or not. Now, it has provided that 81% of the citizens who we have surveyed, they have said that yes, simultaneous election should be there. Simultaneous election should be there. Why simultaneous election should be there? Because it will have a lot of advantages. What advantages? For example, it will save the public money. Every election has not to be conducted. It will reduce the strain on the administrative setup, strain on security forces, because every year when elections are there, security forces have to be diverted. Fine, we can focus more on the developmental activity. Now, when elections are conducted, model code of conduct is applied. New government schemes cannot be announced. New programs cannot be announced. It obstructs the developmental work. Also, it has been said that every year as election is there, government has to appease people, and therefore it becomes a tiring exercise. Okay. So this is something. But when we talk about feasibility, what is a problem with respect to feasibility? Article 83 and 172. It provides that the tenure of Lok Sabha and state assembly will last for 5 years only until dissolved earlier. Now understand this thing. If you have to carry the simultaneous election, let's say in 2024, obviously some assemblies who might be getting dissolved, let's say in 2023, their term has to be extended. And some assemblies, let's say, who are getting dissolved in 25, 26, their term has to be terminated prematurely. But Article 83, 172 says that their term is be 5 year only. So how to cut short and how to extend the terms? That is something. Also, guys, what is the guarantee that it will continue? What is the guarantee that the government will not fall midway? So if say, let's say today we enacted the simultaneous election, tomorrow let's say government fell in few of the states, again the cycle will get disturbed. Also, it has been said that it goes against the idea of federalism. Why? Because it is established on the, now when we talk about the federalism, it is established on the nation that the entire nation is one. Now see, Article 1, it explains India as a union of states. It explains India as a union of states. And different states can have different electoral priorities. They will get compromised when one election will be there. Understand this thing. When one election will be there, it is believed that the national theme will overpower the local themes. So therefore, in the one nation, one election, the party which is enjoying the dominance at the level of parliament, they might also get advantage at the state legislative assembly level also. So it will defeat the idea of federalism. It will be more of a centralizing, it will have a centralizing effect. So this is, guys, all about it. Now here in this particular article, just first 2-3 lines are important, but we have discussed this entire issue in lot more details, and I will advise you to download these particular notes. So that is all, guys, about it. And with this, we come to an end to the today's session. Guys, I hope that you have liked the video. And with this, now we come to an end. Please do subscribe to the channel. Also, please do comment on the videos and